Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Schmeedy, and in today's video, I have officially beat the washed allegations. Yes, that's correct, the team on your screen has allowed me to climb from 2899 to 3011 elo, and you guys know what that means. We have officially hit legend, and we did it while memeing. Shadow Cresslia, I will get into my thoughts about it toward the end of the video, especially having the rank 1 and hitting legend. With this team, I think you guys may want to stick around for my thoughts on it, but nevertheless, if you guys find enjoyment in today's video, please feel free to leave it a like and subscribe. But without keeping you guys too much longer, let's just hop into these matches. We're going to be kicking things off with game number 1 as we lead Empoleon into Lantern. Now this is actually pretty fine. We are going to stay in for the fast move check on the Lantern, and it is Water Gun, which allows Empoleon to stay in and farm up a bunch of energy, taking advantage of the fact that Lantern isn't doing a whole lot of fast move pressure into the Empoleon while on Water Gun, and they are going to fire off a Surf onto our Lickitung, attempt a premature catch of our Power Whip onto their Skarmory, but all they're going to catch is these resisted body slams. However, this may look like a terrible matchup on paper, but Lickitung, with the fast move of Lick, is tearing through the Skarmory's HP, and these body slams are helping us do so. Skarmory now under 50% HP from nearly only resisted damage and neutral licks, and they are going to be able to fire off a move here, but I just don't care what move this is. It is going to be the Sky Attack, not enough damage to KO, as Lickitung is going to be able to reach another charge attack versus the Skarmory, and we are going to be able to nearly invalidate this entire Skarmory, one of the best Pokemon in the meta, by just using our rank 1 best buddy Lickitung there. They're going to fire off a move here. A Brave Bird wouldn't KO, but would do substantial damage to the Empoleon and leave me in a range where this Lantern could then come in and farm me down. They are going to fire off a move into my Empoleon, and out of an abundance of caution, I was certain that was just a Surf, but I was going to commit a shield regardless. I am going to now bring in the Cresslia. Now, this is our first look at the bulk of Shadow Cresslia. It's a Thunderbolt, and Cresslia is still a Cresslia, tanking that damage, no problem at all, and we are going to be able to get up to nearly back-to-back Grass Knots. We are at 99 energy here. Firing off Grass Knot number 1 KOs the Lantern, and in comes an Annihilate in the back. This is not necessarily the best spot for us to be a part of. However, we are going to fire off the Future Sight, grabbing a shield from the Annihilate, and Annihilate, you better leave with a move. That's not enough for you to leave with a move, Mr. Sir. They are going to be able to fire off the Night Slash and get rid of our Cresslia, but we left with 2 moves loaded. So Drill Peck number 1, classic Shadow Empoleon grabbing a shield from the Annihilate. How embarrassing. I wait the turn and still get caught on the Skarmory. That time it wasn't iOS con. That time it wasn't the game just being trash. That was me. I waited 2 turns instead of 1, allowing the Annihilate to catch. I didn't throw in the middle of the counter. I threw at the end of it. And so that is going to be how the game should operate. I will call a spade a spade, and when I mess up, I will say I mess up. Nevertheless, we are in a new game. It's going to be Empoleon leading into a Alolan Sandslash. This one is the Shadow variant. I always call the bait here, and they always do bait here. They are going to bring in a Goodra into my Empoleon, and all I have to do here is chip and dip. I'm okay with just grabbing either big damage or a shield from this Goodra here, and I am just going to let whatever this move is through. It is going to be the Aqua Tail. I debated whether or not I needed the Empoleon to close out this game, but I decided against it since the Alolan Sandslash is on Shadow Claw. That makes it a decent enough matchup where, especially with how chipped it is, my Lickitung will be able to clean it up in the back. They are going to be able to come back in here, Body Slam. They know it's not going to be enough to KO. They are going to confidently no shield, but they have no fast move pressure into me. They're going to fire off the Drill Run. Drill Run is going to do some significant damage onto my Lickitung. I'm looking for the Lick down. They bring in an Azumarill, but I have the Power Whip here. They attempted a catch, I guess, maybe when they made the move, but here comes the Cresslia, and they see a Shadow Cresslia with 2 shields into their Azumarill. They're still playing this game out, kudos to them, but there's just no win con. Cresslia is just going to pace far too quickly, screenshotting the damage from that Grass Knot, no shielding the move from the Azu, and it's the Play Rough. Doesn't do that much damage to a Cress. Cress gonna build up to another Grass Knot and fire it off onto the Azu just before they're able to make another move. It nearly KOs, but just does not. And we're gonna no shield this move too. I don't care if this KOs. It will not anyway, and we're going to be able to make a last second Grass Knot up against this Shadow Alolan Sandslash. I'm trying to close this game out with the Cresselia. Are we going to be able to do it? Yes, we are. GG's to this trainer. Immediately putting this next opponent on the back foot as Empoleon leads into a Gligar, and they have their work cut out for them. They're going to bring in Charge-a-Bug, but fortunately this is the first team I've constructed where I have an answer to Charge-a-Bug, but I throw my energy on alignment. Oh my goodness, I'm absolutely washed. Never mind what I said at the start of this video. Charge-a-Bug getting down below 50% HP. They're going to be able to fire off a move onto us. We don't have to shield it. They are at the back-to-back X Scissors, however. They're going to build up just before I'm able to make another body slam, fire off another X Scissor, but we know this is not going to be enough to KO. We can no-shield this confidently. They are now going to be able to fire off X Scissor number 3. Unrelenting is this Charge-Bug, but I can just give up a shield, build up to the back-to-back slams, and be able to flip switch here. You can either get switch or both of the shields from this Charge-Bug, and it depends on what they want to do here. Firing off the body slam, we are going to get the shield. They're going to fire off another X Scissor here. However, we have neutralized this Pokemon where it is now effectively useless, and in comes the Shadow Cresselia looking for the Psycho Cut down, and we're just going to be able to get it. As always, 6 Psycho Cuts. Very important to know when you're able to farm down with the Cresselia. In comes the Shadow Gligar, but I don't think they're expecting the Shadow Future Sight damage. Future Sight onto the Gligar, nearly takes out the Gligar. Oh my goodness, this is a bulky Pokemon. They are going to fire off a move onto my Empoleon. I don't care if this is going to be the dig. It is the dig. It KOs, but we are going to be able to get our crest aligned onto an Annihilate. We're going to fire off another Future Sight. You better respect this or your Annihilate goes away. There goes Annihilate. Down he goes, and they top left the match. GG's. Annihilate is back in a big way in this next game. It's going to be Empoleon leading into the Annihilate this time, but this is where the construction of this team was very intentional. So I'm happy to share this tech now because Annihilate is going away. Worlds has ended. So they're switching into Carbink, but I am going to talk about this tech just a bit. I have the rank 1 Best Buddy Lickitung, which even a Licky Slayer Annihilate, which is an IV spread of Annihilate, where it's high attack, high defense, low stamina, a little bit contrary to the usual PvP IVs, even that kind of Annihilate does not necessarily want to see a Best Buddy Licky. The Best Buddy Licky plays that matchup out very closely, a lot closer than an Annihilate is comfortable with, and so that's why that's my safe switch on this team. I am able to bait out the Carbink, but they do have that Annihilate lurking in the back. I leave this with a lot of energy on my Empoleon, and I'm firing off a Drill Peck. Drill Peck will easily be able to grab a shield from the Annihilate, even though it didn't look like it. Game having a bit of a trouble with the visuals recently. They're going to fire off the Night Slash, and in comes my Cresselia, but they have a Dugong in the back. This is massive. If I play this correctly, I can win this game. I'm going to fire off the Grass Knot, the first Grass Knot before they're able to get the Icy Wind debuff. That is absolutely massive. They're going to fire off a move here, and now I have some decisions to make. Am I going to no-shield this? Yes, I am. Dugong is always going to go for the Icy Wind here. Drill Run does more damage, but they need to start getting debuffs onto this Cresselia so that they can live these Grass Knots a little easier. However, we are a Shadow Cresselia, which means that 2 Grass Knots are going to be enough to KO. Not going to play into that CMP tie, although Dugong is very bulky and not attack weighted whatsoever. Cresselia loses CMP to just about everything. We're going to build up a massive amount of energy, look to try to make a catch onto our Empoleon. However, they bring in the Annihilate here, and this is massive. Hold. Are we going to be able to make this game happen? Night Slash is going to get the shield from my Cresselia. However, I'm going to look an undercharge of the Future Sight here. Is a Ice going to be enough? No, it KOs the Annihilate. But however, the Dugong already had a move banked. I could have won this game. I thought my win con was catching on the Empoleon, but they very intelligently held on to their energy. That's a very good game. GG's. What is this lead luck? Another Annihilate lead? Okay, hopefully they're going to see me switch into my Lickitung and think I'm weak to this Annihilate, but no, I am not. Provided this Annihilate doesn't boost, this is actually going to be a win for my Lickitung. They're going to be forced to give up a shield. They are going to bring in their Steelix here. Fired off the Power Whip onto this Steelix is probably going to be my best play. Power Whip onto the Steelix, not going to be enough to even get them to 50%, but they are now at 50% from the lick damage. They're going to fire off a move onto us here. It's going to be the Crunch, and that doesn't get the debuff, so we're going to be able to make another Power Whip onto this Steelix, and this is going to get them low enough where I can now go for a farm down with my Empoleon. And a farm down with my Empoleon from this range is going to be absolutely massive, as we are going to be able to put significant pressure on the shields of the Annihilate with the Drill Peck pressure. They're going to fire off a crunch here, but that's a-okay by me. I have a Drill Peck loaded for the Annihilate. When it comes back in, they're going to be able to get that counter sneak through as they should, but I am going to be able to get the Drill Peck and a shield from this Annihilate. In comes my Cresselia, and you better have an answer to Cresselia back there. They are going to fire off a move here. They're down a shield. Am I going to put up a shield here? Yes, I am. It is going to be the Night Slash. Night Slash is going to grab my shield, but I do have Future Sight on this Cresselia for a very good reason. You're going to fire off another move onto my Cresselia. It's going to be another Night Slash that's called, and I am going to fire off the Grass Knot here. I'm getting really close to 100 energy, and I don't want to go over. So you're going to see me fire off the Grass Knot. In the back is going to be an Empoleon. Hold, boys. Grass Knot onto the Empoleon. This is going to do an absolute monstrous amount of damage. Shadow into Shadow, nearly KOing the Empoleon. We are going to be able to reach another Grass Knot here. Grass Knot is going to get this last shield from the Empoleon. They are going to put up a shield. I'm going to bring in my own, and they are forced to throw their energy here. If they don't throw this energy, they lose this game. But I am going to be able to have the CMP tie here. So you better be doubled up. You are, but you lose CMP. GG's to this trainer. Alright, into this next game, and is this a good lead? I didn't even know this was possible anymore. I legitimately thought I had an allergy to good leads. It is going to be Empoleon into Mantine. They're going to safe switch into their Lickitung. However, I'm very comfortable with getting a massive amount of chip onto this Lickitung with the Steel Wings and Hydro Cannon, and just bringing in my own Lickitung. The best way to preserve switch is chipping and dipping into your own Lickitung. They're going to fire off a move here, but now I'm incentivized to call this. They're going to fire off a move. It's just the Body Slam. Body Slam never going to be enough damage there. I'm going to build up even more energy. They're at another move here, but I'm going to call this one as well. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to preserve the HP on the Empoleon. It's the Body Slam, and I am going to leave with a big amount of energy for that Mantine. What do they have in the back if they safe switch the Lickitung there? We are going to see the Mantine come back in and fire off a Drill Peck onto it. This Drill Peck, this Mantine has a lot of neutral play into my backline, but it doesn't know that quite yet, and another Drill Peck is going to be doing a solid amount of damage. The Mantine's HP is suddenly going from 100 all the way down to 0. We're at another Drill Peck, and you better shield this up. Your entire Mantine is invalidated if you don't. We're going to grab the final shield, and now we can just keep switch advantage. We can preserve the opportunity to switch at all times here, and this Mantine does not have a whole lot it can do. They are going to fire off a move onto us here, but I can just no-shield this very comfortably. It's going to be an Aerial Ace, and in comes a Bastiodon. Oh no, this is the worst Pokemon that our team could have seen at this point in time. We're going to fire off the Grass Knot onto the Bastiodon. Bastiodon doing big damage with these smackdowns, and we are going to fire off yet another Grass Knot onto the Bastiodon. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this game off. Bastiodon not even at 50% HP after us throwing 2 moves at it. They're going to be able to fire off a move here. I'm going to no-shield it. It's the Stone Edge. Does a solid amount of damage onto our Cresselia. But you're going to see me prioritize the lick damage from Lickitung in the Bastiodon matchup, as opposed to the charge attack pressure from Cresselia. We're going to bring in the Lickitung here, looking to preserve the opportunity to make a catch if absolutely necessary. They're going to fire off a Stone Edge. We're going to no-shield it, as we know that Mantine in the back still has some energy loaded. We are going to build up to a Power Whip and bait with a Body Slam here. Body Slam onto the Bastiodon is going to grab a shield, which is fortunate for us. However, they are not yet in range where another Body Slam will KO. So they are going to fire off the Stone Edge here. Mantine, again, still with a respectable amount of energy in the back. We are going to be able to reach another Body Slam here. This should be range where a Body Slam will KO, and it is double resisted. They still hang on, but we are going to be able to leave with that Body Slam. GG's, and we are going to be going up against Chillis FM, notable content creator. As you saw at the start of this video, the day has changed and we do have the legend pose equipped. I just did a couple post legend battles because unfortunately I wasn't able to catch myself hitting legend with this team, but there are some in the comments that will be able to verify I did hit legend with this Beam team. Trust. Source, trust me, bro. Nevertheless, they are going to bring in a Golbat into our Lickitung. This is going to be a Poison Fang, which should KO. I am going to no-shield it, however, and bring in my Empoleon. Empoleon has a very nice matchup here. We are going to be able to, just before they fire off their Shadow Ball here, CMP tie them with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will KO, and they're just happy to get rid of my energy. Back in comes the Magnezone more than likely. Looks like they're waiting out Switch for some reason. Not entirely sure why that is. I'm going to bring in Cresselia, and it is a Shadow Cresselia. They're going to fire off a move here, and I am going to put up a shield. It is going to be the Wild Charge, so I'm glad that I put up a shield there. They are going to continue staying in with the Magnezone. After waiting out their Switch, this is a bit of a surprise. I am going to Grass Knot and be able to get their shield with that Grass Knot. Not sure what that was, but okay. Alright, I think that played out the way it should have. They're going to fire off a Mirror Shot. We correctly called a Mirror Shot, and it's going to be a Goodra in the back. Goodra, are you going to respect the Future Sight damage? No, you are not. Goodra getting blasted by the Future Sight, but unfortunately we're locked in here. We're going to be able to make another Grass Knot, but because I'm not able to pivot out, I cannot win this game. Empoleon will never be able to take care of this Magnezone from here, and this is a very safe Mirror Shot from Chillis. Mirror Shot plus 2 Volt Switches nearly KOs, and I just can't get the Steel Wing down that I need. And on 1 HP, we get Volt Switch down. GG's to this trainer. We're heading into our final game of the video, and it is going to be Empoleon into a Dragonite. Oh no. This is a very nice lead for us. They are going to switch out into their Defense Deoxys, but I don't have a very solid answer to Defense Deoxys. With Grass Knot, Cresselia doesn't really put in that much work in this matchup. It would really prefer to have Moonblast there, and there were a couple instances like in that last game versus the Goodra where I really would have preferred a Shadow Moonblast as opposed to a Shadow Future Sight. But something about just not being able to hit one type for any meaningful damage, being fire, just did not sit right with me while I was running Empoleon. So that's why we are running the Future Sight here. And if you do run a similar team, I think with regular CRESS, this team can cook just a little bit harder. But that is why you would probably want the Future Sight, because Empoleon, as I've stated multiple times throughout this season, is a little fraudulent into opposing fire types. Nevertheless, that is not what you're here for me to talk about. We're going to be getting into the Dragonite versus Cresselia matchup here, and you better shield this up. Future Sight would absolutely blast the Dragonite, so they're going to put up a shield in respect of the Future Sight, or potential Moonblast as well. They are going to fire off a Dragon Claw, but the Dragonite is left with no shields remaining, and I'm going to overfarm as much as I dare and fire off another Future Sight to pick up the KO. I didn't want to leave this entire game in the hands of Empoleon, because Shadow Dragonite generally means Lantern as well, and now Lantern in the back is going to be absolutely cooked with this Grass Knot doing more than 50% to the Lantern. We're going to be able to build up to a Hydro Cannon here, and Hydro Cannon is going to get this into a range where one more move will KO. We're just about to get the Steel Wing down, but we fire off the Hydro Cannon, zero bubble it, and draw a smiley face at the top of the screen. GG's to this trainer. Now, me being the Cresselia Whisperer, I'm sure you're interested in what I have to say about Shadow Cresselia in the Open Great League. And what I do have to say is it suffers from a very common syndrome that some Pokemon have, and that is that Cresselia as itself is a nearly perfect Great League Pokemon. It's very bulky, and it has some hard-hitting moves which allows it to succeed, and it charges to those moves very quickly with Psycho Cut. However, Shadow Cresselia ends up sacrificing a not negligible portion of that bulk for damage that you oftentimes don't feel like it's worth. So, in my opinion, regular Cresselia is just better in the Great League. No, I'm not trying to keep some secret sauce from you guys because I was able to hit Legend and I'm not recommending this team to anybody. That isn't the case. I think this team is pretty viable in the 28 to 2900 ELO range, but I would recommend regular Cresselia as opposed to Shadow. And I think Future Sight is a must, but yeah, Shadow Cresselia, just not the sauce, to be honest. And that's coming from me having the rank 1. If I knew how it would perform as opposed to the regular Cresselia, and I had that context now, I wouldn't have built it. So, with all that being said, this has been Schmeedy. Thanks again so much for watching and supporting me all the way to Legend this season. I hope to see you guys again next time. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.